What's up, what's up, what's up? Today we're doing the top 20 movies that I've watched in 2022 for the first time. Not the top 20 movie releases from 2022, the top 20 movies I've watched in 2022. Last year and the year before that, I did a top 16. Because to be quite honest with you, there wasn't much to watch for the past 2 years. But now that everything is getting back um into the regular way of producing movies again, there's been a lot more that I've watched this year. Also, I've watched a lot more this year just because I've watched a lot more movies and consumed a lot more material this year. Okay. And that not only goes for movies, that goes for shows and books as well. For whatever reason, I was just really um, wanting to watch a lot of movies and read a lot of books this year. So these are ranked, again, in no particular order. And no, not all of these are 2022 releases, although there are 2022 releases on this list. This is just basically a top 20 movies that I watched this year, recommendation video. You can take these recommendations and use them for yourself. And also, I do give honorable mentions at the end. So, because not all of them were able to make the list. So, yeah. So, we'll do that here. What will like I said, these are in no particular order. Okay. So, the first, movie on my list that I watched in 2022 that made my top 20 was called Spencer. Now, this was actually a 2021 film, but I had not watched it in 2021. It is about Princess Diana, roughly. Kristen Stewart plays her. In my opinion, I thought she did a pretty damn good job playing her. Some people may not like the portrayal, but I would say most people loved this movie. The soundtrack was amazing. The aesthetic of it, the filming, the way they filmed it, it was just really good. I would say most of it is true, based on what I've read. And Andrew Morton's basically interviewing and questioning the real Princess Diana. Most of it is pretty accurate. It's a pretty aesthetic, like I said, it's very aesthetic. The way in which the footage was captured, I thought, her acting was really done well. And I actually like these biopics. I do. She did one for Seberg as well, which was also really good. But Spencer made the list because just like the soundtrack too, guys. Like the jazzy sort of feel, the jazzy eerie sort of feel I got from the soundtrack. Everything about this was really, really well done, and I totally appreciate it. So that went on my list. The next movie that's on my list for 2022 that I'd watched, actually surprisingly for the first time. You guys probably aren't going to believe this, those of you that know me in real life, that this was actually my first year to watch this movie. Deepwater Horizon. This movie was released in 2016, again, based on a true story. The Gulf of Mexico, the oil leak. This movie like hit me like a ton of bricks, y'all. Again, very emotional. It kind of reminded me of like, okay, Titanic, but Titanic but worse. You know what I mean? Like Titanic but environmental disaster, if you understand what I'm saying. This movie had Mark Wahlberg in it, John Malkovich, Dylan O'Brien. I thought this movie was really well done. Kurt Russell. Um, it's one of the most popular movies ever in recent times. And like I said, believe it or not, it was my first year watching it. It was so, gosh, it was like the anxiety I got watching this was like really intense, but it was totally worth the watch. It is so terrible what happened. It's really another case of just corporate corruption, you know, and it's just terrible. Um and you know, there were some very dark parts of this movie. It was graphic. It's not something that I would really want to show. Um you know, it's really, you really have to have the stomach to watch something like this. But there were also some positives, some heroes in the midst of this catastrophe, and really bravery, courage, and you know, it's just an it's a really crazy story. It's a really dark, twisted, but also amazing story. And you know, it's just terrible, guys. It's terrible that people had to go through this. I can only imagine the PTSD that comes from uh, something like this, experiencing and witnessing something like this. It's very gory. It's very it, it's just, it was a great movie, but I'm just saying, like, the story itself is very uh it, it, it's just terrible, you know. But this came in, you know, I had to put this on my list. It was just such an amazing movie. Um, the next movie that's on my list for this year was called No Exit, which, oh my gosh, this was a 2022 release. Now, this was a total thriller. It was based on a book, which I have the book, I haven't read the book, and I don't know how it compares, so I cannot give any comparison to the book here. Like, I just can't. I can't say if it was a good adaptation or not, but I can say it was a damn good movie on its own. Wow, like this, again, gory. This is very gory, very suspenseful, very you know, twists and turns, kind of unpredictable, kind of not really unpredictable. Um, this was basically, okay, so this was a story about a um young woman on her way home, um visiting her mother for the holidays, and she ends up stranded in a blizzard because the conditions are way too harsh to even be driving. So she's basically stuck at like this kind of pit stop sort of area um in this small town, and there's basically four other people there besides her. There's a older black man with his older black wife sitting at the table. He's kind of like, I think he was like a veteran or whatever. And then there's a Hispanic dude with a white guy. I think they're friends. And so everybody knows each other except her. Like, she's kind of left out. She's kind of like in the middle of all this stuff. And they play a card game and they do all this different stuff. Well, things start to get a little weird, let's say, and things start to get a little sus, okay? And so the girl goes to investigate, and that's when things take a turn for the very worst, and because they are stranded after all, and they're in the middle of nowhere, and she has nowhere to go, and she's got nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. So this gets interesting. So who stars in this movie? Danny Ramirez, who I'd also watched in a different movie that will be on my honorable mentions. Havana Rose, Lou, Dennis Haysbert, Dale Dickey, and that's pretty much who's in this movie. Dennis Haysbert, I'm pretty sure is the Allstate guy. I'm pretty sure because his voice is very recognizable or whatever, but he's like the insurance dude. But this movie was so suspenseful. Trust me, if you pay attention, you'll be able to figure out who did it. But it's like, guys, like, it's great. And it was definitely a film to watch this year. And, you know, it was it got a lot of attention because of how like crazy the plot line was, but it was just great, guys. It was really great. I'm trying to figure out if something else that I had made my list. Let me take a look here. You know, I don't know if it did. Let me see. I don't know. We're gonna keep going on anyway. But yeah, this was a great 2022 release for sure. The fourth movie on my list is, let's see, Coherence. This movie right here is actually free on many different platforms. Believe it or not, it's kind of like it's a pretty low budget movie. Like the budget for this movie was 50 grand. That's a really low budget movie. But guys, this is one of the coolest sci-fi thriller films I've ever seen. It was very unique. I'll say that it was very unique in the plot line, and I've never seen, like, guys, you would never know that it was like a $50,000 budget movie. Like, you just probably wouldn't know based on the acting and all this type of stuff. You would never know. And I won't even mention the cast because, and the actors and the actresses, because you won't even probably know who they are. I didn't know who they were, but that doesn't matter. Okay? The plot line is 8 friends at a dinner party experience a troubling chain of events due to the malevolent influence of a passing comet. Now, let me just tell you something. Okay? Think Inception. Okay? Think Inception, but like legit time travel between different dimensions. Okay? That's the way I'm going to describe it. Because there was a lot of questioning about what reality they were in, like what plane they were on, what dimension. It was a really trippy movie, and I loved it, and so did everyone I watched it with. It was great. It was an amazing movie, and it, like I said, it's free. It's free to watch, pretty much on all the platforms that you watch free movies on. The other movie that I watched this year that is on my list was it was an amazing surprise. It really was. And I'm pretty sure I had gotten the movie recommendation for this from Flick Connection, from watching one of his videos, Frequency, guys, with Dennis Quaid and Jim Caviezel. Oh my gosh. This is probably one of my favorite movies of all time now. I'm not even joking when I say that. And that's pretty significant for me to say that. This is another sci-fi time travel. It kind of reminded me actually of a book that I read this year. Or not this year, last year. That was Or was it last year? Was it this year? I'm trying to remember. Um, uh, no, it was last year. It kind of reminded me of a similar thing where like, um, the radio stuff, like, and people were talking, and it's like time travel shit. It was a book I had read last year that was similar. And that one was called Tribulation, and it was like it was kind of similar. I'm not gonna say it's very similar, but it was kind of in the way that it was, the plot line. But this movie is about a son and a father, and Jim Caviezel's the son. His father is, Dennis Quaid in the movie, and basically the whole thing is it's kind of like a also 11/22/63 sort of deal, kind of from what I've heard about that book. I've never read the book myself, but it's kind of similar. So basically, Jim Caviezel tries to go back in time and save his father from dying in a fire that he had basically intended to. And there's a whole bunch of shit that Jim Caviezel does and says that makes Dennis Quaid realize, wow, this kid is actually my son. How am I actually communicating with him between different dimensions and stuff like that? Let me tell you something. This movie gets in a way, it kind of is like a thriller, because like you want so badly for this to end, like you want this movie to end so badly, and like in a really good way. Like you want it so bad to end the way you think it should end. And let me just say this, like the drama and the stakes get raised in between here, and the suspense in the middle of the movie is like crazy, and then like towards the end you're like the suspense gets even crazier, and you're like, oh my gosh, like I hope this doesn't happen, I hope that doesn't happen. And let me just say, you guys are gonna love this movie. I love this movie. It was free on Tubi literally in December, and I know it's available for free with borrows on Hoopla, I think, as well. So that's where you can find this for free. But it's an amazing film, guys. Like it's an amazing film. It really is. Like it's a piece of art, and this was it was released in 2000. Um, it's also got Elizabeth Mitchell in there as well. I think she might play the mother. It's just so amazing, guys. It's so amazing. Um, it it's like, guys, it's so emotional, this movie. I literally bawled my eyes out at the end. I'm not even lying to you when I say that. Um, yeah, it's just it it really it didn't break my heart. It's just like it was just so great. Okay. The other movie that made the list is called Black Butterfly. Um and it was released in 2017. Guys, I don't know how I didn't watch this earlier either. It's got Antonio Banderas in it and Jonathan Rhys Meyers. Oh, this movie was a good one, y'all. It was a good one, y'all. It was a total thriller. It threw me for a loop for a little bit there, and then it all started to make sense and come together. It's freaking genius, guys. It was totally genius, this plot line. And it's, again, this is like a movie I hear like barely anybody talking about. I believe you can find it for free as well on Canopy or Tubi, or like one of those. I know it's for free out there somewhere, but let me just read the description. It says, on the outskirts of a mountain town grappling a series of abductions and murders, Paul, a reclusive writer, struggles to start what he hopes will be a career-saving screenplay. After a tense encounter with a drifter named Jack, who, Jonathan Rhys Meyers plays, okay, he's basically a wanderer. Paul offers Jack a place to stay. Soon, The edgy, demanding Jack muscles his way into Paul's work. As the storm cuts off power to the isolated cabin, the two men begin a jagged game that will bring at least one tale to an end. Guys, it is such a great movie. You guys need to watch this, I'm telling you. Telling you. Watch it, guys. You're not going to be disappointed. I can't say any more than that because it'll literally spoil it for you. Okay, this is another really great movie. Okay, this is a really great movie, guys. This is like the how do I describe this? This is like the Coach Carter of rowing movies. Okay, let me just say that. It sounds crazy, but it is. Okay, that's how I'm going to describe this movie. It's called Heart of a Champion. Now, this or Heart of Champions. This movie has a really great cast. Charles Melton, which you might recognize from Riverdale. Alexander Ludwig, who is Kato in Hunger Games. Michael Shannon, um, Alex McNichol, Lily Krug. This movie's just amazing. So this movie is this movie I guess is set in the 90s or supposed to be set in the 90s. Um um let me see. It says during their last year at an Ivy League college in 1999, some friends' lives are changed forever when an Army veteran takes over as coach of their dysfunctional rowing team. So basically, this movie follows the group of boys on the rowing team and their respective love lives and all this different stuff. It also focuses on the coach and how that changed the team and drastically. Um, Alexander Ludwig basically plays this pompous asshole who gets everything that he wants in life because his father's rich and can make things happen for him. And the change of the coach really shakes up things for him because he's no longer as valued as he used to be on the team. And that really affects his social status. It affects him personally because he's really taken down a few pegs from that change. And it was the change changed a lot of the dynamics of the team, and it was such a great I did not I expected that this movie was going to be somewhat emotional, but and this is again a movie that I never hear about. I know it's for free on Canopy, I think. I'm pretty sure that's actually where I watched it. But this this movie is really a good one, guys. I did not expect to like it that much, but I really liked it a lot. I liked it a lot, guys. I'm just now realizing I missed out on something on my honorable mentions. Yeah, I thought it was great. Um, you guys really have to watch this. That's all I'm gonna say. You have to watch it to understand. It was great. Um, yeah, yeah. The other movie that made this list, let me see. Wait. If I can get this all together. I should have had all this pulled up before. I should have had all this ready. Um, Let me see if I can get this working. I'm trying to figure this out. Trying to figure. Oh, okay. I see what I did here. I was just trying to figure out. Oh, you know what? That's another one I missed out. See? Alright. There's gonna be a lot on the honorable mentions this year. I'm just letting you know. Because I don't want to miss anything. Alright. The next movie that is on my list is an amazing one. It really is, guys. But the reason why I put Beyond Heart of a oh my goodness. Heart of Champions on there is because there had to be at least one kind of tearjerker on this list, because I don't have any like crazy romance movies or whatever on here. Like crazy soft romance movies. This had to, like, I had to diversify the list a little bit here, guys. I had to have some old, some new, you know what I mean? Like, I just had to. Okay, guys, this one I know for sure is free on Tubi. And it looks like not a lot of people like this, but I loved it. It's called Beyond a Reasonable Doubt with Michael Douglas, Amber Tamblyn, Orlando Jones, and Jess Metcalf in here. This was the ending, y'all. The ending. It's just like with a lot of these, it's just like the ending like really gets me. So this is what the movie is about, okay? District Attorney Mark Hunter has an impressive record in securing convictions and is contemplating a run for governor. Local reporter C.J. Nicholas is suspicious, however, and starts investigating Hunter's caseload with the help of Assistant DA Ella Crystal. Nicholas decides to frame himself Nicholas decides to frame himself for an unsolved murder to expose Hunter's unscrupulous tactics. But things spin out of control, and basically things spin out of control, guys. Okay? So he had basically went undercover, basically, in the movie, to try and expose him. And let's just say you will not see the end coming. Like, you just won't see it coming unless, you're really, really, I guess, paying attention even more than I was. The next movie I'm about to push y'all on to, guys, Jake Gyllenhaal is becoming one of my favorite actors at this point. He has a really, he's got a way to really spook you on the screen, and he's got a really good way of getting psychotic on you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm loving that energy. But in these movies, y'all, like, these he really like gets into that friggin' character, y'all. Like, he's amazing. This book that I'm about to not book that I'm about to put y'all on. This movie that I'm about to put y'all on, Nightcrawler, y'all. Nightcrawler. This is I can't believe I've never seen this before. I forgot to tell you guys when Beyond a Reasonable Doubt came out. That was a 2009 film. But anyway, back to Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler was released in 2014. How did I not see this before? He did and I think the reason why I ended up watching this is because he had literally basically, if you don't know, he had basically starved himself for this role. And he looks like it too. He looks very skeletal, very crypt keeper. He looks like a Nightcrawler. This movie, give me a minute. This movie follows he's basically an ambulance chaser, right? And this guy learns that he can basically make money off of crime scene photos and videos. And he takes it to the next freaking level. Okay, and that's what this movie is about. This movie is about Jake Gyllenhaal, and he's like this, you know, kind of detective, kind of not really, but really he's there. He's an ambulance chaser, guys, and he's trying to get the goriest, most disturbing photos and videos. And every single case it goes, like he just keeps trying to get there first. And there's this other guy that keeps getting there first, right? And he just keeps trying to do all the shit he can to get there first, so he gets the money because he gets a payday every single time. Something like this happens. Yo, let me tell you, Jake Gyllenhaal plays a psycho, and I'm loving it. He plays the psychotic, uh, like money hungry, greedy, crazy, insane personality, and I lived for it. Lived for every moment of this movie, guys. It says Los Angeles. I'm going to read a little bit of the summary for you. But I just summarize it for myself, but I'm just going to read you a little bit here. Okay. And this kind of is giving he does like really good like dark vibes like in the movies. Like he gives that energy, like that aura. Like that's him in these movies, guys. Los Angeles denizen Louis Bloom survives by scavenging and petty theft. He stumbles into a new career as a cameraman, and armed with a camcorder and a police scanner, begins nocturnal forays across the city in search of shocking and grisly crimes. When he catches the eye of shop-worn news director, who welcomes the chance to raise her station's ratings, because they ain't getting no views, okay, Lewis goes to increasingly greater lengths to catch the, quote, money shot. Guys, this is one of my favorites for this year. So I love this. This is great. Go watch it now. The next movie on this list is called Secret in Their Eyes. And every time I think of this title, I think about the Foo Fighters song for whatever reason, Arrows in Their Eyes. It's not the same wording, but it's just kind of similar wording. But anyway, I don't know why I think that way, but I just do. Secret in Their Eyes is free on Tubi now, so go watch it. It's also free on a bunch of other different platforms, I believe. This has got Julia Roberts in it, Nicole Kidman, and Chiwetel Ejiofor in it as well. Michael Kelly, Dean Norris, and Alfred Molina. Okay. Whew. This movie was quite amazing. Quite amazing. This follows FBI investigators, and basically one of the let me see. One of the FBI investigators, her daughter ends up dead right in the beginning of the movie. So we're starting off this movie with a bang, right? And so the whole movie surrounds her partner's constant chase to find who had done that to her daughter. And is basically he's chasing his tail this whole time. And he's keeps getting nowhere. It's been years and years and years. And then we start to get an idea of why that is the case. And let me tell you something. It kind of reminded me a little bit of, what was that movie? I don't know. Was it Inheritance? That movie where the guy, well, I'm not even going to, but it reminded me, the ending reminded me a little bit of that. Okay? Got a little bit of that here. So, that's basically what it's like. And the movie is set, so that happens in the very beginning. And then it's set 13 years after the case. And, he gets a lead, 13 years later, after chasing his tail, and basically he's led down a path that he never thought he would be before. And he did a really good job in this movie. He's one of my one of my favorite black actors of all time. Him and Giancarlo Esposito are literally my favorite black actors of all time. Literally. Um, he's just so they just do such a great job. But this was really a good watch, and it's free, so there's no reason not to watch it. The one I'm about to tell y'all is just, guys. I had discussed this movie in one of my reading wrap-ups, so if you're into movies, you may not have seen me mention this movie. I'm trying to figure out when it was released. It was released this year. This movie, I don't know why this movie has really low ratings, because, I mean, it is kind of trashy, but I'm in love with it. This movie is called Dangerous Game: The Legacy Murders. Like I said, it was released in 2020. It's got Jonathan Rhys-Meyers in it, Jon Voight, Will Sasso, and it's got a pretty decent cast. To me, it reminded me of, and this is how I described it in my reading wrap-up, it's like, imagine the Purge movies, the Knives Out, and the Escape Room movies had a baby. That is what this movie is. The familial drama, the murders, the just elements there of the familial, the murders, the all of the stuff, the trying to figure out who done it, guys. Again, I'm gonna tell you, it's really pretty obvious if you pay attention. If you pay attention to this movie, you're pretty much gonna figure it out, okay? But there's a lot of, and it's also kind of in a way in certain parts like Spiral that I watched last year, because certain areas of this movie are pretty gory. But it was hilarious, guys. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was great. Again, I'm not sure why. See, this is the thing. When I look at movies, I pay zero mind to the ratings at all. Like, I pay zero attention to it, and neither should you. Because here's the deal. This movie has got, what has it got? It's a 4.5 out of 10 stars on IMDb. It's got 1.5 stars, 1/5 of a star from the Common Sense, whatever, and then it's literally, do not pay any mind to any of these reviews, I'm telling you, because I thought it was pretty friggin' hilarious. It had me laughing, and in fact, when I was watching this, with the fam, they were laughing too. Okay, now this is not something you want to watch with little kids, obviously, because if I told you it was similar to Spiral, trust me, you're not going to want to watch this with kids. But I will say that this was pretty freaking hilarious, for adults to young adults. Okay, this was hilarious, and like I said, if the Purge movies, Knives Out, and the Escape Room movies had a baby, this is what this is. And it was, the plot line I loved. I thought that was really cool. And because I know a little bit about H.H. Holmes, because I've watched videos and stuff on that whole case. This movie was I thought that was a unique plot line. So the fact that people are not liking this movie, I'm just kind of clueless on it, because I loved it. Okay. So that was that one. And that was a 2022 release. Now, we've got another 2022 release coming right behind that, and that is Nope. Oh my gosh, guys. Now, I know I'm not the only one talking about this movie. I know I'm not the only one that's going to be talking about this movie and putting this in their wrap-up this year. Nope was pretty damn good. It was what Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone should have been, okay? If you don't know, he had done a Twilight Zone spinoff on his own, with his own stories, with Steven Yeun in it, ironically, for one of the episodes, a few years back. it was trash. It was garbage because he was trying too hard. He was a try hard, and he was trying too hard to fit into Rod Serling's shoes. I thought it was total garbage. I thought it was a flaming pile of shit. And it's a shame because I know Jordan Peele is great because I watched Get Out and I watched Us, and I'm watched this, and this is what the Twilight Zone should have been. It's got Keke Palmer, Stephen Yeun, and Daniel Kaluuya. That's just how I pronounce his last name. I'm not sure if that's correct or not. Okay, but this movie was amazing. Amazing. 10 out of 10. Everybody loved this shit, and rightfully so. It was kind of slow moving in the beginning, but as you started to get the idea for what the plot line was, knocked it out of the park. Like I said, this gave serious Twilight Zone vibes, and I wish if this was what the Twilight Zone series was like, I would have watched the whole damn thing. I would have watched the whole damn thing because it was great. This was very trippy, very amazing, very unique, very unique. It's like some UFO alien, um, you know, stationary cloud in the sky, sort of thing. And so here's the summary on Google when I looked it up. A man and his sister discover something sinister in the skies above their California horse ranch, which, by the way, in the movie has very deep history or whatever. And I thought the backstory was cool too. While the owner of a nearby theme park tries to profit from the mysterious otherworldly phenomena. Oh my god. This movie, y'all, and from what I understand, well, I'll talk about that probably on my podcast later, how I've been hearing certain things about stationary clouds or whatever being spotted this year, phenomena being spotted this year in real life. And I just think that it's interesting that this came out. This is a long movie, but I loved it. I loved it, and I know everybody else loved it. And when it comes to the movies, Jordan Peele really does not disappoint. But when it came to that Twilight Zone show, I wish if every episode was like Nope, I would have watched it. I would have watched the whole thing. Okay, so we're gonna give you another 2022 release this year from the Daily Wire. Now, I was bombarded with ads for this thing because, as you guys know, or as you guys should know, I'm pretty conservative. So I had gotten bombarded, for trailers to watch this damn thing, and I went ahead and take a look at it, and it was pretty good. It was good enough to be put on this list. I had actually put their other movie that they had come out with last year on my list because I thought it was pretty damn good, and so I thought this one was pretty damn good too. This movie is about a Southern woman. I think a Southern woman. If it's not Southern, I could be wrong. But this movie is about a single mother who I think they're down south too. But anyway, a single mother who is basically was in an abusive relationship, and the guy comes back and basically things again take a turn for the worst, and they lock her up in this room and she's got to get out. She's shut in to the room, and this movie follows her journey of basically trying to get out the room without her kids getting harmed in the process. So I thought it was great. It's got Rainey Qualley in it, Vincent Gallo, Jake Horowitz in it. So I was pretty impressed with it. I thought it was good. That's why I made the list. Surprisingly good, in my opinion. So I had it, and also I had to put other 2022 releases in here, guys. All right. I had to put some 2022 releases in there. Um, so yeah. Let me see. Okay, so that was good. What is the next one that we have? Oh, this one, I want to make something clear about this one, okay? Because I didn't get a chance to, I had no idea when I watched this that there was a movie that came before this, and I cannot wait to watch that on my own this year. The Color of Money. Guys. This is from 1986. I had to put an older movie on here as well. Um, this has got Tom Cruise and Paul Newman in it. I can't stand Tom Cruise as a person, but I like Paul Newman. But this this movie was great. This movie was great. I love the game of pool. I find it fascinating. I'm not really too big on any other games that involve money sometimes. Um, I really do like pool. I really do like pool. But watching this movie was just so cool. It was great. And so apparently there was a movie before this that just had Paul Newman in it, I guess, as the main character, and that was called The Hustler. Now, like I said, I've never watched that before. I will watch that this year, when I get the chance and opportunity to, because I know that'll be damn good. If this movie was any indication. So, let me see. It says former pool hustler Fast Eddie Felson decides he wants to return to the game by taking a pupil. He meets a talented but green Vincent Lauria, Tom Cruise, and proposes a partnership. As they tour pool halls, Eddie teaches Vincent the tricks of the trade, but he eventually grows frustrated with his antics, leading to an argument and falling out. And that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. And guys, it was pretty amazing. Like the progression of the characters through this movie, I just really loved it. And as somebody that really enjoys watching pool and playing it, this was really cool. So I love this movie. 100% amazing. That was totally worth putting on the list. I'm trying to find this other one that I have here. You guys are going to love this one as well. I'm going to put y'all onto this right now. The Invitation, y'all. Now, this is free as well on other platforms. Honestly, this movie was so good, I would watch it again. I would watch it again. I would watch it again. Dinner, murder mystery party, basically. Okay? It's not exactly that, but it's kind of, it's basically what it ends up being, right? So, again, this was kind of a pretty low budget movie, guys, but it did not disappoint. Now, this movie was made in 2015. It's a thriller movie, and let me just read this to you. Okay, because I'm telling you, you guys are gonna love this shit. And it is great. Like, guys, this movie was great. When a man accepts an invitation to a dinner party hosted by his ex-wife, the unsettling past reopens old wounds and creates new tensions. Guys, the drama in here, the tension, you could cut it with a knife. It was so great. Who's in this movie? John Carroll Lynch, phenomenal. He's great in most movies I see him in. Tammy Blanchard, Jordi Villasuso, a lot of names I probably can't pronounce. Mike Doyle, but guys, which you're gonna want to see this. You're gonna want to see this. I'm telling you, it's just like Coherence. You're not gonna tell that it's on the lower end of things, because the acting, guys, makes up for it, and the suspense makes up for it for sure, for sure. So that's that. I think this is I'm gonna give you guys yet another 2022 release. So I've got more 2022 releases on here than I usually do, which is kind of interesting to note, because most years I'm putting older movies on, but the movies that came out this year were not bad at all. Yeah. Ambulance came out this year. It's an action slash crime slash heist movie. Gotta love the heist movies. It came out this year, like I said. It's got Jake Gyllenhaal in it. Eliza Gonzalez. I don't even want to try and pronounce the black man's name. I really don't want to do it. Garrett Dillahunt, who is the cowboy gunslinger in Fear the Walking Dead. Okay, he's been in a lot of other stuff too, but that's just what he's most recognized for. This movie was damn good. I love me a good heist movie. In fact, there was another heist movie that came out this year with Mel Gibson and Josh Duhamel that was pretty damn good as well, which was actually based on a true story, but I don't know if I ended up putting that on the honorable mentions list. I may have to. This movie, again, Jake Gyllenhaal really gets into the character, guys. He really gets into the character on this thing. He really, really does. Gosh, he's really good at getting psycho. You know what I mean? Like, he really is. The plot line is basically that the black vet needs money for his wife's medical bills, you know, and he teams up with his adoptive brother, Jake Gyllenhaal, to steal 32 mil from an LA bank. But then everything goes south, and that's really what makes this movie, is the whole thing going south. And I don't want to give anything away. I mean, you can kind of fill in the blanks yourself. Pretty predictable, because it's a bank heist movie. What's going to happen? I actually just slipped up for a minute, and I actually had to cut the audio because I'd slipped up and said something I wasn't supposed to. So yeah, but it's pretty predictable, guys, is what I'm saying. All heist movies pretty much follow the same lines, but this one was a really good one, so that's why it's on the list. The next movie I put on this list was also a 2022 release that everybody, including myself, has been anticipating for years now. This movie was in production for quite some time, and you can tell by the quality that it was. And I absolutely loved the casting. I literally said this when I found out the casting for it. The casting for this movie is so perfect. And the way that they portrayed Batman in this movie was, I think, better than just being like a regular hero, because there's layers to Batman, and I thought that this movie was just a total hit. everybody loved this. Some people really didn't, and I'm not sure why. The Batman movie that came out this year with Robert Pattinson. Total. It was just great. The aesthetic, the dark emo, some people are calling it emo vibe that Robert Pattinson was giving was really doing just that. It was giving. Um, and he was serving those looks with the black eyeshadow and all the stuff, the emo look. It was just so iconic. Zoe Kravitz, Paul Dano, Colin Farrell, Jeffrey Wright, Andy Serkis, and Robert Pattinson. They all did a great job doing this. I thought Colin Farrell did a pretty good job playing the Penguin. I thought everybody was casted so wonderfully. Some people may have a problem that Zoe Kravitz was casted because of her skin color, and I'm just going to tell you right now, in this case, I thought it worked like a charm. And for other movies, it's not the same. It's not the same. Because to me, in certain other movies and franchises, and with certain characters, to me, changing the race of a character wouldn't work. But in this case, it worked out perfectly, in my opinion. In my personal opinion. And I'm usually someone that doesn't really like that things changed up, bigger aspects like that changed up real crazy. But she did a real good job playing. She did a real good job playing, Catwoman. So, and I think everybody should agree on that point. There should be no argument about that because she did what she had to do on screen, and she really did a good job. I thought the costume designs were out of this world. I thought the overall look of the film was amazing. And I'm glad that they used different villains for this franchise, because truly and honestly, the Joker has not only been played out at this point, but nobody can play the Joker like Heath Ledger can, and it would honestly be an insult to use him in a franchise that's already doing so well right now with this film, and it would be just a shame for them to try and revive a character that just really should probably never be played again, in my opinion. So they did a great job. I'm really excited about the Riddler and all of the cliffhanger. I really hope we do get a second Batman. I really hope we do. But part of me is thinking, we might not. We might not, because the way DC is going right now, I don't think anybody's too excited about the way that things are going with DC right now. And I just hope we at least get a second Batman movie. I mean, please. Because that was such a cliffhanger at the end. Okay? So, that's my opinion on that. I'm gonna give let's see. This one was a unique film, and I'm putting this on here because it was unique, and because it was actually pretty damn good. And I actually really liked this. I did not expect to like this, but I really liked it. Let's see if I can do this here. Okay, this movie came out this year and was called Prey, spelled Prey. Okay, this was a kind of let me see. This was a very native. It was a Native American movie, but like it was an action sci-fi. Some people compared this to The Predator. I've never seen The Predator, so I honestly can't tell you. And some people would even go as far as to say that this was part of that series. I know nothing about it, so I really can't say much on that. I will say that I thought this was a really cool film. I thought that it was done really well. I thought the main character was extremely badass. I thought that there was a lot of learning her character had to do, and I really just I don't know. I just like the concept of like having a Native American warrior as the main character in an action movie because they are badasses. So it just makes sense, right? Um, so that's basically what this is about. I'll read you a little bit here. Um, it says a skilled Comanche warrior protects her tribe from a highly evolved alien predator that hunts humans for sport, fighting against wilderness dangerous colonizers and this mysterious creature to keep her people safe. So this this movie was really great. I loved it. It was unique. I've never seen a film like this before, and I thought it was great. Um, and I thought it fit well. I thought the plot line fit very well, and in terms of like how realistic it is, that she would defeat this predator, this you know um, monster, whatever you want to call it. Uh, she it's not by total brawn that she defeats this this monster, which I would totally say that I'm glad that they didn't do that because it would make it more unrealistic, a little bit more unrealistic, and I thought that them going a different route was a little bit smarter in this movie, because it made it more realistic and easier to watch. The main character is played by Amber Midthunder. The Predator is played by Dane DeLigro. Not really that matters a whole much because I don't think they even talk. Or really, you never even see the person's face. Dakota Beavers was in this. Michelle Thrush. And a whole bunch of other Native American actors. But I loved it. I thought it was unique and I enjoyed it. So we're gonna do. Let's see. So that was great. I liked it. This one I put on this list because I think more people need to know about this movie. This is another, I'm telling you, Film Connection or Flick Connection, not Film Connection, Flick Connection. He does the best movie recommendations like ever sometimes. Like he really like puts me on to shit. Like I'm telling you that his channel is so amazing. Shout out to Flick Connection. He's like the best. The best in the game. I was so disappointed by Moon Knight this year, I'm not even joking, that I had to watch something with Oscar Isaac so he could be redeemed for me. And this movie right here, I talked about it in a different wrap-up, and this movie's good. This movie's really good. This movie is set in the 80s. It's set in 1981. It was released in 2014. It's a thriller. I would call it more of a drama. So I think that would be more accurate. But there is a lot of action in here as well. Let me read what it says. It says, in 1981 New York, a fuel supplier, Oscar Isaac, tries to adhere to his own moral compass amid the rampant violence, corruption, and decay that threaten his family and his business. So basically, the whole movie is about this guy. Exactly that. He's an oil supplier. He does everything by the books. or at least he tries to follow his morals as best as he possibly can. And he's basically appalled by everybody in the game that does not care about morals and being honest businessmen and women. Okay? And throughout the movie, his business kind of struggles because of that, and because of there are other factors at play. And as the movie progresses, we start to see the cracks show. And guys, it was, if you want to see Oscar Isaac, to me, seemingly in his element, this is the movie for you. This is the movie for you. I'm telling you. Like I said, I was disappointed by Moon Knight. I really was. But this movie did not disappoint. This movie is amazing. Probably really underrated, I would say. I've never heard anybody else talk about this movie other than Flick Connection. And I enjoyed it. So let's get to the cast now. Oscar Isaac, Jessica Chastain, who played his wife, Albert Brooks, Christopher Abbott, and David Oyelowo. It was great, guys. I loved it. Last but not least on this list, I had to put this on my list, even though it's kind of an indie film, because I had to give this man a spot, okay? Now, no, I know what you're thinking, guys. I know what you guys are thinking. You guys are thinking, Shayla, where's the Theo James and Sam Claflin recommendation? Guys, they really didn't put any movies out this year, as far as I know. Not any that I was interested in personally. Which is kind of disappointing. But Theo James has been making waves with all the shows he's been doing recently, and he's getting the credit that he deserves, rightfully deserves. So that's good. And I have talked about one of the shows that he's been in this year on other wrap-ups, but so yeah, there was no movies to put on there from any of them. Which is kind of, like I said, it's kind of a disappointing year when it comes to that. But, like I said, at least we got some shows from Theo James this year, and that was good enough for me. So, but this one, guys, had to make the list. Again, please do not give a shit at all about the ratings, okay, please? Do not give a shit about the ratings for this one. It's free on Tubi. And it was one of the funniest things that I've ever seen. And it literally, what's funny here is the title literally is, or the subtitle underneath here, looking it up, is drama/satire. Which, I'm telling you guys, this is hilarious. Giancarlo Esposito directed this movie. And it's obvious that his fingerprints are all over this. It was distributed by Lionsgate. This movie is amazing. It's called The Show, and this cast is pretty damn good. And I'm not sure why nobody else is talking about this movie. I don't know if to me, I would consider this an indie film because nobody talks about it, but it's not an indie film because Lionsgate distributed this movie. And look at all these actors and actresses, talented, gifted, that are in this movie. I've told y'all before, this man is literally, some people love Denzel, some people love Will Smith. I can't stand really the both of them, really. If you had to make me choose, put a gun in my head and make me choose, I say Denzel, okay. Because Will Smith just, please, I can't even go on about that today. I don't even have the energy. This is literally the third video in a row I'm voice recording today. I don't have the energy to talk about Will Smith today, but what I will say is my all-time favorite black actor is Giancarlo Esposito. This man is so freaking hilarious. Words cannot describe how much I cherish this man. Okay, his dark humor is like, it's so amazing. Like, it's so amazing, guys. And it's like, he's so gifted, guys. Like, he's the most underrated, in my opinion. Now, I see more people talking about him this year. He's the most underrated black actor in Hollywood, in my opinion. And that's just a fact. These are facts. And so, I was in love with this film. Every moment of it. It was so sick, but it was so dark and twisted and funny, and it was just amazing, guys. It was amazing. I can't even. This movie has got Josh Duhamel in it. Of course, it's got Giancarlo Esposito. Sarah Wayne Callies, who plays Rick's wife, Shane's muse, and Carl's mother in The Walking Dead. Famke Janssen, Caitlin Fitzgerald, James Franco, Chris Ellis. This cast is just loaded, guys. This cast is loaded. And it's so freaking good, guys. It's just so freaking good. It's like really amazing. It really, really is. This movie is about a reality TV show that basically exploits impoverished people, and it's kind of like the Hunger Games in a way, okay, where it's, I mean, the Hunger Games isn't really a reality TV show, and I don't know if I would call this a reality TV show either, but it basically exploits people. You know how in the Hunger Games they, the more rice you're trying to get, like for each entry into the Hunger Games, your family gets like more grain for the year, and how that increases your chances of getting what's the word, picked, for the Hunger Games, because some people, they had like in the Hunger Games, they have to enter more than one time, which increases their chances of basically dying, because their families are broke, destitute, and starving. So this is kind of similar in the way that the movie is about people that don't have enough money for, like, let's say medical bills, for their mortgage, for a house, like they're about to leave their house, and they basically get exploited because this show gives their families a certain amount of money based on what they can raise after they publicly die on the show. And they all die in many different ways. And so it's kind of like a really, I'm telling you, it's like a sick, twisted satire. Very much with the dark humor again. Very much. I was rolling. I was dying laughing for a lot of this movie. And it just, this movie did something for me, and it like really not a lot of movies can do dark humor like this, and not a lot of shows can do it either, and that's why Revolution is one of my favorite shows of all time, and that'll probably be a whole that should be a whole video in and of itself on why that show is so fucking perfect and why it should have never ended. Okay? But this, and I thought, like, it was interesting to see them, like, all really get into the role. Like, Josh Duhamel, like, he really played, like, this sick game show host. And it was just so... guys, like, something about Esposito's acting, like, when he acts like this, like, kind of pathetic, beta male, like, he makes me laugh so hard. Like, it's very hard to describe. You guys just have to watch it in action, guys. I'm telling you, this movie is so underrated. It needs to be watched by more people. And it was a fun watch. And it was a fun watch. I just loved it so much. It was great. Pretty freaking hilarious, if you ask me. It was great. So now I'm here to give you, now that I went through the top 20, right? I went through 20. 1, 2, I'm just making sure. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, 19. No, yeah, so we've given the top 20 movies that I watched in the year 2022. A lot of these were new releases, a lot of these were not. And there were also new releases that I actually did not put on this list and are in the honorable mentions. So we're going to go through that. If I get my papers here, if I get my papers out. Let's see. I'm almost wondering, did I leave out something? I don't know if I left out something on this list. I'm just making sure I have everything under control before I give this list to you. Okay, I think I've got everything here. What happened was, if you don't know how I do this, I record every single movie that I've watched during the year, just like I do the books. And I actually had missed out on writing one of them down, believe it or not. So I'm going to write it down now because I know that I'd watched this movie this past year, now that it's 2023. Because this was a good one too. Okay. I'm going to give you some honorable mentions of movies that I've watched for the very first time this year. If we can get this up. Okay. Some honorable mentions. The Social Network. I had never watched that movie before. I thought it was great. Now You See Me, the Now You See Me series movies, I'm so shocked that I'd never watched those, but they were absolutely amazing. The Outfit, I believe that was also a 2022 release. It was good, but it couldn't make the list. Sorry, Dylan O'Brien, but it couldn't make the list. But it was a decent film. Kind of old timey vibes, kind of similar to the most violent year. Let me see. I want to make sure I get all this here. Braven. That was a damn good movie, but it couldn't go on this list because if you know how I feel about Jason Momoa, you just know I couldn't put that on the list. But it was a good movie if you can bear to stand to watch him on screen if you can bear it. But that was a great movie. Bitter Harvest. I liked that. I liked that one a lot because it gave some context into why the citizens of Ukraine are as fearful as they are over the grain shortage thing. It makes a lot of sense now after watching that movie. And by the way, I thought that was done really well. I'm pretty sure that both the people that had played in that movie were the main characters were in Les Mis. I think it was like 2016 or whatever, 2014 or whatever was version of the live action version of Les Mis years ago. Oh wait, not the live action version, or one of them was. I think the girl might have been, but I think some of them were actually in the movie. Is what I meant to say. Some of them I do think were in the movie and the live action. Anyway, that's just a side note. Silo, who that one Hispanic guy that was in No Exit, he was in Silo. I liked Silo. I thought that was good. Puncture, based on a true story. I think Silo wasn't based on a true story, but it was based on things that have happened before, if that makes sense. Puncture was based on a true story. That was great. A little too graphic and not so great of a story itself to put on here. Neither was Deepwater Horizon, but the film was so great I just had to put it on here. Jonathan, that was alright, but if you know anything about Ansel Elgort, I just couldn't put it on the official list. It's just I couldn't do it. Scream, I believe that was also 2022 release. That was great. That actually had Dennis Quaid's son in it. That was good. October Gale, that was kind of a weird one for me. It was good enough to put on the honorable mentions. Paradise Highway. Oh my god. Here's a mistake that I made, guys. I watched Paradise Highway and The Black Phone all in one night, and I was crying. I was bawling my eyes out by the end of the night. I'm not even joking. So that was my mistake. My mistake about that. But Paradise Highway, I thought Frank Grillo and Morgan Freeman did an amazing job in this. So did the woman who played Frank Grillo's sister. It was a really eye-opening movie. I would say a lot of it is not based on a 100% true story, but aspects are true. Of course, a lot of the subject matter that this movie touched on, it's very close to home, and it was very. The ending was great. Okay. What do we have here? Oh, this is for sure indie movie, Road Train, with Bob Marley in it, and the one guy from Twilight. I was wondering where I'd seen his face, and I'm like, this guy looks familiar as hell. And he was the blonde guy in Twilight, the kind of like obscure looking dude. That had to go on the honorable mentions because it was just like a trip, you know. Now we're gonna do the two Jonathan Rhys Meyers movies. The Good Neighbor, which was a remake of a previous movie by the same name. So if you watch it and you're like, oh, this is kind of familiar, well, that's why. And I thought it was done amazingly well. I thought it was great. The Survivalist, that was very difficult for me to not put on the list just because of John Malkovich's presence in that movie, and Jonathan Rhys Meyers in the movie. A lot of the lines he said really struck a chord with me in certain areas of the movie, but that movie was a pretty good post-apocalyptic, I'm not gonna lie, and one that came out I think last year I believe that came out. Let's just see if there's any more that I did miss. I don't think I did, but I'm just going through here. Going through here, and Bandit. Okay, Bandit is the one that, again, there were a lot that could have made the list, and Bandit was actually one of them that really could have came close. That was a Josh Duhamel and Mel Gibson movie, and it was actually based on a true story. And I thought it was pretty good. So that had almost made it. And then one that was kind of trashy, but I actually liked it. was, what is it? Oh, what was it? Dismissed. Dismissed. And I think that was Dylan. Yeah, that was Dylan Sprouse in that movie. It was pretty good. I mean, it was kind of like, one of those trashy thrillers, but it was still good. Oh my gosh, you know what? This is another one that I need to put on the honorable mentions too. This is another one that needs to be put on the honorable mentions. I Still Believe, with KJ Apa in it. That was a beautiful but insanely sad movie, and actually, believe it or not, it's a true story. And that one really messed me up, man, watching it. So that was a tearjerker too, but it couldn't make the list. But it was a great one. Um, I could have added. I probably could have added. Well, that would kind of be cheating. There were some great documentaries I watched this year that, honestly, they should have their own separate list. If I watch enough of them in a year, but it wasn't enough to put on the list. I think I'm pretty pleased with my top 20 for the year and my honorable mentions. I stand by it. Really and truly, guys, there were no movies this year that actually really disappointed me or threw me for a loop. I actually really did enjoy all of the movies I watched this year. I don't think there was one that really bothered me too much to put it and say, these are the ones I didn't like. Which I usually have to do that because there's usually a lot of the times ones that I really don't like. For a little bonus here at the end, we'll do a little bonus. For a little bonus here at the end, which is something that I usually never do. This is my first year that I'm going to do this. I'm going to give you the top 5 shows that I watched this year. Now, I watched... Let's see. And some of these aren't complete shows. I just watched the most recent season of it. I'd watched a decent amount, probably like 10 to 11 shows this year. Not all of them new, some of them new, some of them not new, some of them are just seasons of shows that I've been continuing for some time. But I'm going to give you my top 5 shows for this year because I think you guys need to be put onto these and immediately. Because I get asked a lot of the times, because I got a lot of time on my hands when it comes to certain recommendations and stuff like that. And people that know me in real life know that I'm a film and book connoisseur, along with many other things. I just enjoy a lot of things these days. I've got a lot of different hobbies, but I love me a good book and a good film. So I do get recommendations that people asking me to recommend them movies and shows. So I'm going to give you some show recommendations. I'll give you 5, okay? And I'll go in a little bit of depth about these. Okay. Let's do the newer ones. New to me ones that I watched this year that really, quite frankly, blew me away. Let's start with the 2 ones that are based on true stories, okay? Dope Sick. This has got Michael Keaton in it, and, shoot, what's that guy's name? Oh my gosh. I'm blanking. I know that guy's name. Let me look it up now. Oh my goodness, I know this guy's name. Let me see. Will Poulter. Oh my gosh. Guys, this show, like I said, is based on a true story. It's about the opioid crisis and how it started and how the pharmaceutical companies um, were able to pull the wool over the FDA's eyes, how they were able to game the system, and a lot of the corruption um, in the system itself. Um, it was so Michael Keaton played the doctor, Will Poulter played the salesman to the doctor, and it was a very good, it was an interesting dynamic. It was a really good show. Um, I'm not sure if it's based on 100% as a true story or if it's kind of loosely based on it. I'm not sure. I know that there was a book. I know certain aspects are definitely 100% true. But it was great. Like, I really loved the show. I thought all the different characters in their plot lines were interesting. And I really liked it a lot. And I thought Michael Keaton did an amazing job, and so did Will Poulter. I was really impressed with that show. The other one that I just have to the one of the main reasons why I'm putting this at the end here as a bonus is because it was so good for me not to even let anybody know about this show. And I need to spill my guts about how good this show was. We Own This City with John Bernthal in it. And it didn't just have him in it. It had a few other people in it too. Let me pull up the cast for that. This is actually a 100% true story. And it's kind of crazy. And it's about the Baltimore PD. And oh my gosh, just you guys are gonna love this. Has John Bernthal in it, Jamie Hector, Josh Charles, let me see the rest of this list. Delaney Williams, Don Harvey, Jermaine Crawford, Trey Chaney. There was just like a whole bunch of people in this show. Okay, guys, but oh my gosh. Let me just spill on this show. John Bernthal's mannerisms made this shit. I'm telling you. And his, like, the way he moves on screen is just, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. For those of you guys that have watched The Punisher and have watched The Walking Dead, all these different movies he's been in, you know what I'm talking about. That guy moves on screen like a G. Like, I'm telling, and it made this role because he played a crooked cop so with ease, guys, with ease. And the way that he carried himself and the way that he even talked, like his timing is, he's a comedian without even knowing it, without even realizing it. I feel his comedic timing, and it's not even supposed to be funny what he's saying, you know what I mean? But it's just like his comedic timing with the shit. It's like it always hits on a different level with his shows and movies. I'm telling you, y'all are gonna want to sit down and watch this show and just straight up binge watch it. Like, you're not even gonna want to wait a day, wait 2 days. No, you're gonna want to sit. You're gonna get down and dirty watching this show all day long. You're gonna just want to sit in that chair, with your laptop, with your TV, whatever you watch this on. You're gonna want to sit down and you're gonna want to sit there and your comfy sweatpants, grab a drink, grab a snack or something, because you're gonna want to watch this all the way through. And I mean all the way through. Because you're not gonna want to wait to watch the next episode, because each episode gets crazier and crazier and crazier. And the fact that this is a true story is even more remarkable to me, because this guy got away with so much for so long, and I don't even know how, because it was so blatant. Like, this guy had no respect for the badge at all. At all. But that's what made and see, this is what I had said before when I had talked about the show on a wrap up. Because he had played like a kind of dirty cop before, I feel like that's really what prepared him for this role. Because if you remember, okay, he had played like kind of a dirty cop on The Walking Dead. And I think that really set him up to play this role perfectly. And let me just tell you guys, it was so good. It was so good. And it's not just him in the show that was good. It was like everybody else surrounding him. It was just, oh my god, you have to see it. You'd have to see it, guys. You'd have to see it to understand what I'm saying. It was so great. It was so great. I've been trying to recommend this to everybody I know. The intro music was great. The way that they did the timeline, I thought was really clever. It may confuse some people, but if you're really paying attention, like I was, you're gonna realize the timeline pretty quickly. I still can't believe like these cops weren't thrown away for forever, but I guess that's just, again, how the system works. By the way, if you're wondering if this corruption has been fixed in Baltimore, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say no, because I did see a crazy ass video of what I believe to be the mayor right now. It was either the mayor or the attorney general, and he was out there and he was like saying the most bizarre shit. I don't even know how these people, these politicians get away with saying some of the shit they do, but this show was, I'm telling you to watch that shit right now. I'm telling you, do it for yourself and put on the show and watch it right now. Please. Self-care. One of the other shows that I was really fascinated by this year that is going to become, I really do believe this, that Skinwalker Ranch as a show is going to become so talked about next year. I don't even think people realize. I hopped on this bandwagon this year because I saw David Paulides talking about this. And he, if you don't know, he does the Missing 411 documentaries, which he's got one of those coming out next year, I believe. And they're amazing. He does some really good investigative work as well. He's written books. But anyway, he had talked about this show and specifically this ranch. And I wanted to see what the hype was about. Oh, I see what the hype is about now. Everybody in this show, even though they're not characters, everybody has something to bring to the table. Dragon is literally is the best on the show, in my opinion. He is so funny. He's such a skeptic, and I love it. I love him for that. The main guy, Brandon, the CEO who basically owns the ranch, he's cool. He's pretty cool. And then the scientist, God, I forget his name. I'll put his name up here. Or actually, I won't. I'm gonna look it up. He does a lot of cool experiments, brings a lot of cool people on the show. I actually had never watched the show before this year, and I was very impressed. And I think, and it's free. That's the other thing, it's free. Let me see. Let me see. Travis Taylor is the scientist. Dragon is personally my favorite, and then Jim Morris, I think he's like the manager of the ranch or whatever. Everybody on this show is like, they're not characters, but like they are characters, you know what I mean? Like, Dragon is such a character to me. This show is for everyone obsessed with the supernatural. They talk about wormholes. They talk about skinwalkers. They talk about tunnels, portals, vortexes, uh, aerial phenomena. Um, they talk about cattle mutilations, which is becoming a more and more prevalent subject matter that everybody's talking about now. So again, this is a show that you're gonna want to watch if you want to figure out and try and get a grasp on what the hell is going on sometimes in this world. You're gonna want to watch the show. It's also pretty damn funny, and it's pretty cool, the experiments they do, and it's shocking. It's shocking. But for those of you that are really, really interested in this show, there is more than enough resource material out there, more than enough books written on this very ranch, and the history of this ranch goes deep, and it goes all the way back to the Native Americans, and in fact, on some of the episodes, they even bring some Native Americans on to talk about the strange occurrences that have happened not only on the ranch, but in the area surrounding the ranch, and the townspeople, and everything like that, and it's just a really fascinating subject, fascinating show, and again, this is a show that you're going to want to binge watch because it's pretty freaking cool. Alright, so in terms of shows that are not new to me, but I've watched before, and I'm talking about the recent seasons, the recent season of The Handmaid's Tale is out of this world. Out of this world. It's probably one of my favorite seasons of the show so far because of the political drama and because of the spotlight put on Commander Lawrence, Commander Blaine, and Aunt Lydia, who are my three favorite characters on that show. This last season really was, to me, it was amazing. It was just great. And it makes me almost want to rewatch the entire show because of how good it was. The recent season of Cobra Kai. The recent season of Cobra Kai, if you think that, like, how could they make a show off of just 3 Karate Kid movies, or, you know, how can they do that? How can they create a plot line off of just Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso? Trust and believe every season gets better and better and better and better. And the fight scenes get better and better and better and better. And I don't even know how they're able to do this. It first started off as a YouTube Red series. Now it's a Netflix series. It's so good, y'all. Like, it is so good. And this recent season, brought so many characters back and really settled a lot of the drama on the show, although some of the drama is still ongoing and ready for the next season. And I'm just telling you, I'm literally obsessed with the show ever since it came out, and it's great. Like, it's great, guys. If you guys remember the fight scenes on 13 Reasons Why, see, it's a similar vibe. It's like, oh my gosh. Like, and when you see the fight scene go on, it's just like so insane. Like, but with the Cobra Kai shit, it's even better because the choreographed moves and the camera work and just the dialogue through the fighting is just great. Um, like I said in one of my wrap-ups, you're going to want, after you watch the beginning of the last episode in this most recent season, you're going to want to tap out because of some certain events that happen. But trust me, you're going to want to wait until the end, and it's not going to disappoint. It's not going to disappoint. But this most recent season was crazy as shit, okay? I also want to talk a little bit about something that didn't make the list, but I do want to talk about it because I am a huge Walking Dead fan, and I just wanted to give my 2 cents on the last season. I know a lot of people a lot of people were very upset at what they did to Judith. Um, in that one scene. And I know a lot of people are upset that Norman Reedus basically became the main character of the show. And I want to just say this on the record. Even though it didn't make the top 5 shows that I watched this year, I just do want to make something clear about the show. In my opinion, the show is much better without Rick Grimes. I know this is a very unpopular opinion, and I know I'm probably going to get stoned for saying this, but Rick Grimes, to me, made the show a lot worse. And the reason why I'm going to say this is because he gave a lot of the villains on the show a lot of leeway, and it made the shit boring as hell and really depressing as hell because everybody was getting killed and everybody was the show was very slow moving without the action that Daryl Dixon brought to the show. Daryl Dixon, in my opinion, becoming the main character revived the show. And I will also give my 2 cents that I'm very upset at what they ended up doing to Daryl and Carol at the end here. I'm very upset. I'm not upset, though, at the fact that it sounds like Daryl's going to be getting his own spinoff, and so will Maggie and Negan. Maggie and Negan will be going to New York City as for their spinoff. And I'm not sure if Norman is going to be on that show or if he's going to be doing his own show, but I'm very excited for that. I'm not so excited for Michonne and Rick coming back. I know a lot of fans wanted closure, but I thought we had it, guys. I thought she disappeared. That was the closure. Michonne disappeared, and so did Rick. End of story. But some people want to see them back, and I really don't care. I'm here to tell you that I am of the unpopular opinion that Norman Reedus made the show. He made the show. And so did Shane. And that's why to this day I'm very pissed off that it could have went a totally different way if they kept him on the show. I'm also pissed off that obviously they've taken Glenn off the show. But I was never upset about Rick leaving, and I was never upset about Michonne leaving, and I was definitely never upset about Carl leaving the show. I know that's a very unpopular opinion, but I'm here to say it. But to me, Daryl was always the best, most badass character on the show, and you can't even debate me because Rick just didn't bring that energy to the show that I think was needed. And I know, again, very unpopular opinion, but I think he really had to leave. He just had to. Because think about how much the show progressed with Daryl as the main character. We would have never gotten all this drama if it wasn't for Rick leaving the show. So, I totally agree with the decision. One thing I do, I'm pretty concerned about the direction that Fear the Walking Dead is going in. I like the Victor drama. I like Morgan on the show. I think he fits pretty well. But the one thing I'm concerned about is Alicia leaving, possibly. And the nuclear blast and what that will do, it will probably kill the show, in my opinion. I think the nuclear blast that had happened in the show, I think that will end up killing the show. I think they never should have done that. But that's just, again, my opinion. I'm psyched, absolutely psyched for this Negan. And again, I've got another unpopular opinion. Does anybody get to feel that Negan and Maggie are going to end up together somehow? I'm just getting that feeling, y'all. And it's very twisted, but I'm starting to get that feeling. But I can't wait for their show. I can't wait for Daryl's show. For the new year that's coming, what movies are coming out, what shows are coming out that I'm excited for. I'm excited for further seasons of The Handmaid's Tale and Cobra Kai. Um, I'm waiting for Daisy Jones and the Six to come out. I think that'll be a hit, hopefully. Um, and we'll see what this year holds, this new year holds. So I know I went on for a long ass time, but I think it's worth it after everything you guys have gotten out of this. So, until next time, bye guys.